Hello and welcome everybody to the Titan. I don't know what division we're in. I wasn't told what division we're in. We're in the Immortal division. It's the Emerald Diamond Masters division, Immortal division. You know, usually you come prepared for these sort of things, but I guess I'm just out of whack for it. I'm not a Valgame, joined by Leslie here. You know, the guy who should know things on the color commentary here. How excited are you for this match?
Good. I mean, of course, the early weeks of any division, any league are always a little crazy. How matchups shake up, how teams are first trying to start working together and kind of find their feet and get some momentum going. Of course, both of these teams having lost in week number 1, really looking to start and build some momentum with a win here in week 2. So, of course, we are an Immortal 600 cap. LP and Masters rank here for League of Legends, so I'm excited to see some higher level League of Legends. In theory, this is what we should see. It is our highest league here at Titan Esports, so I think it's going to be good. Both teams looking to prove something tonight.
I mean, it is a interesting sort of situation here when you lose week 1, but you know you don't want to be the one who goes down 2-0 as we go into draft this time around. You never want to be the team that goes first into 2-0, starting off the season rough, but. Does anything stand out about these teams? Any specific players or any specific, strategies that these teams like to lean towards that, sort of speak to you?
Well, it kind of depends here. First, I want to point out TMG. Team Death Knights, TMG. I actually got to cast them a lot in the Vanquisher League last split, and they actually have some players from our championship team in Vanquisher who've actually upgraded to the Immortal League this time. Crushing Rock and Floops or Ninja actually jungled for them last split. Both very strong, very solid players. One Punch Zach, though, definitely somebody to watch on the side of Maelstrom Esports. I think it's really going to be, as we often see, something I like to point out a lot of times is like, how can the teams, pull their coordination together for both really being able to pull the trigger in those key moments, but also, and this is kind of where I like to give the most criticism, is teams willing to concede things and go, you know what? We're not strong enough. We're going to back off and we're going to move forward with that. I think, Floops and Crushing Rock did a great job of that in the last split. So it'll be interesting to see if they've been able to transfer those skills to their team this time. Of course, as we get into draft here, interesting to see what these bans are. One Punch Zach, of course, taking the Zach ban right off the bat. Not too surprising, as these first 3 bans tend to be a little more targeted or directly meta related. Ambessa, also the first ban.
I always love to see how the first, ban phases go in these fearless matches, because sometimes it is just straight meta, and then other times it's the target ban. Zach is not straight meta. Zach is a straight target ban. It's in bro's name. Like, that is a straight target ban to make sure. While these other things, the Lucian, the Ivern, the Ambessa, stuff I've seen, relatively commonly picked or banned before. So you got the one trick. The Mordekaiser ban is also interesting, but not unexpected. It's something I've seen before, to be fair, in the lower divisions. It's usually speaks to a strong, lane aggressive top laner, and the Fiddlestick's not so that I expected.
Yeah, it's been taking some hits in the patch notes recently, so definitely an interesting ban there. Of course, some target bans that come out. Varus going to be the lock in there for TMGE here, Evokers. I do love this Varus first pick, one of those great neutral AD carries, kind of gives you some flexibility in how you decide to pick that support. You can kind of go for that more carry or the more utility style that Varus has. The answer, though, from Maelstrom Esports is going to be this Tristana, definitely looking for something a little more aggressive. Although French Caps, of course, this could be a potential Tristana mid, although R1 Tristana mid would be a very interesting choice here.
Well, they pair it with the Pantheon, which could be going mid, also could go jungle. It's a interesting thing here, because Varus plays a particular style of a, not entirely artillery, but he's a very far range sort of champion. He's not like the get involved kind of close range carry, like something, I don't know, more like a Kog'Maw or a get in there kind of carry. He's much more farther back in the fight, where you have now the Volibear and the Maokai, which is very, very interesting. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but Maokai recently has seen a lot of play in the jungle.
Yeah, so Maokai, I would probably say 12 months ago, maybe 18, Maokai actually saw a really, really long stint, I think over 3 or 4 patches, where he was absolutely busted, absolutely broken. I played him myself at that time. In the jungle, made really big waves there, and he's kind of been around since then. Of course, he does. One of the cool things about drafting something like Maokai is, in all reality, he's a triple flex. We could see him go in the bot lane. We could see him played in the top side. We can also see him in the jungle. Of course, Volibear more traditionally played in this jungle role. So that does lead me to believe that Maokai could be leaning towards the support. Although we do see Zyra and Hui going to be banned out by Maelstrom Esports. Zyra jungle still seeing some play rotating around the league. That clear is still very, very efficient. Great zone control. The Shen locked in, though. This could lead me to believe that the TMGE, depending on how their draft goes, they could move some things around. That Volibear, if it's able to move towards the top side, could give this Shen a lot of trouble.
Well, it looks like Maelstrom is looking for a much more mobile composition, because you have this Shen, you have this Ryze, you have this Pantheon. All of these people have global, semi-globals, this movement that they have to try to get around the map, and they're probably going to just look to make plays. A Renekton lock-in pretty much locks the Maokai into support here, followed up by the Victor. There is a starking, decrease in amount of mobility in terms of map movement that TMG has in their comp, as opposed to MES, stumbling over my letters here, has in their composition. I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised to see them getting active on the map early on in the game before these, after a teleport's burned from this Renekton or out of the Victor, then we get, the move over and whatnot. But I do want to ask you, which composition do you like more?
So here's the thing. I love Shen support. It's obviously not as traditional as you often see. I do like the rise of Pantheon jungle. So I think there's some really interesting things there. But I am a sucker for some solid
Shen support.
Yeah, Shen support here. The Jack's going to be that traditional counter for Renekton. But again, I am a sucker for some just solid front to back team fight with scaling carries. And that's the exact same, that's the thing we see here from Evokers, Victor scaling. I assume we're going to see the lethal tempo, more on-hit scaling version of Varus as the game goes on with that great front line. But what I will say, I really like the thought here from Maelstrom Esports, really looking, like you said, that mobility, the way to move around the map. I think the ability for the Grand Starfall and the Rise Ultimate to kind of use those for great macro plays is going to be what makes or breaks Maelstrom's comp here. Because I think if you just get stuck straight 5v5ing over objectives, you're going to tend to struggle here. However, if they can split the map up, they're going to have some great side lane presence with both Ryze and Jax. So yeah, I think it's going to be, if they can spread them out over the map well enough, I think I've got to lean a little bit towards Maelstrom Esports comp here. As much as I'm a sucker for the other one, I think that's what I got to lean towards.
Maelstrom, if played correctly, can make this very, very difficult for TMG to, sort of respond to them. Jax could, opt into the, lane pressuring, split pushing towards the latter half of the game, and you send one person down to deal with him, to slow him down, and then all of a sudden it's 4 people down there. You're getting jumped. And it is, while you do lose something on that other side of the map, you are fully aware of that, especially at this level, you're fully aware that you're going to do that, and you're accepting that risk. And it's really of just a, more of accepting the loss that you have and moving on to gain from that movement. But I really want to see them use this sort of pressure that they have to make plays. And where do you want to see the movement for MES to go? This, they have a lot of mobility, but Renekton can only die quickly for so long. Do you want to see it in the bot side, or do you want to see him just keep going to this Renekton? Where do you want it to go?
Realistically, I think, for both these teams, they both have very, very strong top laners. I think as Pantheon here, you're going to have to be flexible. I would definitely be looking to push this Jax ahead early and then maybe transitioning my clear towards a little bit more bot focus. But it does look like we're ready to get into game number 1.
My co-caster has been eaten by the void. That is unfortunate. Okay, where are we back? Are we back? My co-caster was eaten by the void very quickly there. But Leslie, are you here?
I'm here. I'm ready.
Okay, you were making your point. Oh, yeah, okay. So that it was me. I was devoured by the void then. Oh, no. Listen, I'm so used to it being somebody else. And this time it was me. It came for me this time. It wanted me. But now we're back. Your point was definitely valid. I didn't hear it, though. They're looking at this Varus. The flash forced away immediately. I mean, that's just a classic 5-man grouping, and you're alone. You're caught by yourself, and that's easy force on the flash.
Yeah, absolutely. Great job by Maelstrom Esports to kind of play around that vision and use that fog of war as a non-traditional route to invade. You love to see those things. You know, like I said, Maelstrom Esports comp, I really, really like it, but it is definitely harder to execute. You know, I actually coach in the Gladiator League, and something that I talk to my team about, they're probably tired of hearing it, is that, you know, we draft a lot of easy to execute comps, right? Which is exactly what TMG, the Evokers have drafted here, is definitely more traditional front to back, easy kind of point and click CC, you know, Maokai ultimate, just things like that are very kind of easy to do or simpler to execute. But I really like the ability that Maelstrom Esports is going to have. So we'll have to see if they can pull that off and execute correctly.
I mean, right now, this mid lane is something that I really think is going to be interesting because you've got two. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but these are two late game powerhouses, right? Rise and Victor both absolutely blow people up in the late game. Which one do you like more in the late game, or is it just like dead even?
So again, personally, I think if we're going to be talking about side lanes, Rise, hands down, not close. And I'm a Victor enjoyer. I play Victor a lot right now in mid as well. But unfortunately, like, if you're going to sit here in the 1v1, I've got to give that edge to the Rise in those side lanes. However, when you start looking at those team fights, when we get all those upgrades, those Hextech upgrades come through for Victor, he's a force to be reckoned with. And that's a lot of damage that we can do. I also think Victor has a really, really strong laning phase. We already see a huge HP advantage for the side of Victor. You know, shield bash and that Q ability doing a ton of damage and that extra sustain, you know, siphon power doing so much there. So we'll see if he can take that advantage and kind of stay ahead a little bit here of the Rise. But again, if they stay on the sides, all to Rise. If they stay team fighting, all to Victor.
I mean, I think that TMG is going to want to just stick to team fighting, obviously, because that's what their comp is built for. Much more for the team fighting as opposed to... This Jax pathing is very interesting here. He's going possibly for... No, he was just placing a ward. I thought he was going for an invade there, which would have been very, very weird for...
Yeah, I'm not sure he wins that, to be honest.
No, I think he gets bopped. I'm going to be honest. I think he gets folded like a lawn chair. Ooh. But speaking of getting folded, we're getting engaged on here. The Tristana jumps in. We're looking for Varus. No flash means flash. You're gone. First blood. Go to the pocket of the Tristana.
Yeah, that straight 2v2 Ventura and Solstice just absolutely making something happen for themselves. We see a failed gank on the top side here as One Punch Zach trying to move forward. Gonna miss out on this crab. Likely see him move towards that bot side. But hey, that's a great start if you're Maelstrom Esports. 2v2 win there for him.
I mean, right there, that is just knowing what resources aren't there. You had so much time to... Wait, this Varus flash is down. We can take the time when we have the availability to go for this. But it looks like a little scuffle in mid lane might come out here. It looks like Victor does not want any of it. So, Volibear will walk away. Jim is going to go to the rest of his camps, as the other crab is going to go to One Punch Zach. He lost the top side one, but will get the bot side one. And, I mean, that's just using your resources, or using the knowledge of what resources were down. Now, again, this bot lane, it seems to be in the favor of MSE, but is there a particular lane that you feel like is favored?
Yeah, so I mean, I think traditionally when you do look
at my goodness, I did not think that was going to do that much damage.
Yeah.
Okay, we're alive.
Yeah, explosive charge doing so much work here. They're trying to get something back, but I don't know. Yeah,
Pantheon's here to make sure his boys don't get gone on, but Volibear's looking to throw out some more poke to get out. Tristana's going to have to reset off this, but Pantheon's in. Pantheon will put down Party. It looks like it's going to be Party in the afterlife. Volibear's looking to chase down the rest of the boys, but Tristana stayed. Tristana's here. Tristana will secure another one for herself. Taking it down and taking another one to the grave. Varus trying to push in, but the stun comes down. Tristana comes back in. Flash burn to make sure One Punch Zach gets it for themselves.
Yeah, that's absolutely devastating for Evokers here. I mean, Crushing Rock feeling like he had to make something happen there. You know, didn't want to go down this, this hard this early, and it ends up being so much worse. As Pizza Party here just overstaying. One Punch Zach, great opportunity here. Sees, hey, we have this opportunity. We're just going to get one and get out. The Pantheon able to use that Aegis Assault to kind of back out there. They tried to make it happen, but just not enough damage on this Varus. Just not enough early. I think that's just a it's a product of the route that he's going, right? I mean, man,
100%.
Very unfortunate for Evokers there.
He felt like he needed to get something done, and he saw all these low health bars, and he was just seeing red. And unfortunately, red was not the color he needed right there. It's that sort of situation that you feel like you got to get involved, and it's always so awkward when now this Tristana has 2 kills and an assist, and this Pantheon also has 2 kills and assist. It looks like we're getting active in the bot lane again. This Maokai not feeling too hot right now. Taunt comes in from the Shen, the stab down means another kill is going to go right into Ventura's pockets.
Yeah, this is completely one-sided at this point. Going back to that little scuffle in the bot lane too. I mean, it's just you look at the Varus. He's already moved towards and taken Comet, looking like he's going to go for that more lethality build. We see the tier picked up, and it's just, I mean, he didn't have lethal tempo stacked in that fight, like we said, trying to make something happen. But Maelstrom Esports really looking to just run away with it, and so far, Evoker's not able to get anything in return except for a couple camps on the top side.
Do you think this is a product of the, not to say, the somewhat bruiser support in the Shen? I understand that he's going, a more support build. He's got these, I can't remember the name of the item, but he's got the boots that give him cooldown. And he's looking for more taunts. He's looking for more aggression. Looks like Volibear's looking for some aggression here, but we'll get rooted out and popped down, stunned down, and Pantheon's putting in a ton of damage, but Volibear's in, slamming down, disable that tower, but he's getting disabled by getting put down. Gonna be sitting down for another 10 seconds.
Yeah, and this is just Evokers. I just maybe thinking that they do more than they do in the early game. Definitely a comp that, with the exception of like Renekton, really kind of wants to scale, got a couple items. The Grand Starfall
Pantheon's back in. He's back in, and Rise is putting in the damage. Victor's trying to put back the damage, but it's not enough. Puts him in the cage, and we'll see if we get the stun out. Victor will be able to walk away safe this time, but will burn a lot to do it.
Yeah, that's just the acceleration that we see. Great level 6, great look. One punch stack. Of course, as we did see, Floop's really trying to get something back there against the Rise. It looks like he will be able to get this wave crash. TP not back up. Getting something back, but he's looking. Oof. Great awareness there. We do see, of course, no, the Aegis still gives a little bit of move speed, so definitely trying to get him up a little faster. Of course, Victor Gravity Field using it as a great option to kind of zone him, as it does have a slow in it as well. We do see a little bit of that CS lead in the mid lane, but of course, it is nothing compared to this absolutely gold canyon from the Tristana in the bot lane. Of course, we got to imagine, see this Yuntals back on this first back when they come back. Of course, BF Sword already in place for them right now. Oh, yeah, absolutely. 3,500, 1,000 gold up right now. Absolutely crazy.
I mean, this is also brutal for the TMG, because the composition MSE or EM... Wow, I am fumbling right now. Fumbling indeed, but we're looking to try to get this Renekton, but he's a bit too far away. MES. Wow. MES is they're trying to play the map they want to, set the momentum the way they want to, use their movement how they want to. And having such an astronomically high start, especially on this Tristana, is so terrible for TMG. And if you're TMG in this spot, what do you do? Like, how are you getting back into this?
Well, step one is
I gotta block you on that for real quick, because an engage comes down and I gotta do my job, and they're doing their job right now trying to shut down this Pantheon, and they will. The Renekton will secure one punch Zac by putting him into the dirt. We're looking to put more into the water here. Sink them, drown them. Crocodiles, they live in the water right there. And make sure Jim picks up one for himself, and that is a turnaround. I was asking for what they should do, and they showed us what they should do.
Yeah, what I was gonna say, and of course, Evoker's taking a gold lead after that's gonna get this other 2 grubs. To give them a little extra pushing power. We are going to look at this fight. I was going to say they want to use these ultimates effectively because they have so much single target lockdown. They have this root from Maokai, of course, Nature's Grass coming completely clean over here. When Aegis Assault is down, Pantheon is not tanky. So much damage coming here from the Arcane Storm from Victor. And this is exactly what I was talking about. The ability of Victor to put out damage across multiple targets and this continued damage of course, throughout the course of this fight is just absolutely second to none. Great stun here to get them out of that Rise ultimate, and just a great cleanup here. Whew.
I mean, right there we have We have just that Maokai ultimate, by the way, was absolutely like perfectly placed. You see on the edge, when I don't know exactly who was standing there. I think it was the Jax, but it was like perfect to hit him and hit everybody else right in the middle.
Yeah.
It was perfectly set up by Pizza Party right there, and that's just all of it came together. It's all coming together, you know. Like that was just everything was set up so well. So I was asking
there too is they did a great job of picking that fight because hey, Tristana isn't here. 1,000 part of their gold lead is not here in this fight. So they realize like, hey, we've got to make something happen. Because of course, you know, in games like this, you can't just get bled out across. At some point, you have to take a stand. You have to make a move. And I think they did a great job of recognizing that. It's like, hey, Varus isn't really relevant here. We have so much power in this Victor Renekton, especially early. Of course, that Renekton already 3-0, definitely going to make that Jax's life a little miserable. As Jax will eventually outscale, but getting behind like this will make that you know, end of laning into mid game a lot more difficult. But hey, it was a great look by Evokers, and we may actually get a game out of this.
It looks like the Maelstrom is looking to go for this dragon here. They're setting up, trying to fight around this Tristana. I see they're looking to correct the mistake of was not fighting around their gigantic gold lead. And now this dragon's being pulled. Volibear's looking to contest it in. Throwing some poke down. The Maokai ultimate comes there, and he steals it away. The dragon taken, and the root down, looking to put down this Pantheon. Pantheon taking a bit too much damage. It means he will fall a bit later. Look at the chase, though. Shen trying to get the taunt out, but won't get the taunt out. He will get put down. Double kill going into a triple kill for the Bars.
Cow.
Shut down on the Tristana. Huge bounty going into his pocket. Man, that gold is heavy.
And what I want to notice here is we just saw this. If you caught the stream right at the bat, is Tristana had not backed. Tristana had not spent a lot of that money. She did not have Yuntals in that. She was sitting on a ton of unspent gold there, and they great job recognizing that, taking advantage. And now this Varus, you know, if we can get another look at the gold here, this Varus who was 1,000 gold behind. I mean, you've got to imagine we've close to even that out by now. That triple kill is going to be a huge pickup. Yeah, he's only 200 to about 200 gold behind now. Absolute crazy equalizer as we see Evokers take a 2,000 gold lead going into this mid game.
I mean, that was a bit of a slip up on the side of the Maelstrom there, I think, because Tristana, you got to play around the Tristana spikes, especially if you're trying to play around her. You've got this huge lead on her, but she's not when she's got like 2,000 gold sitting in her pocket. Pantheon's coming down though, trying to put some gold in his pocket real quick. Renekton trying to fight back. Good heal comes down, but here come the boys. We're talking about the jump party that's coming in, and you're getting jumped, put down.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great call. I mean, we talked about this, the ability for Maelstrom Esports to get across the map. Of course, you know, Shen, Stand United, getting him in there. The Grand Starfall from Pantheon, just doing so much work. And really shutting down that Renekton lead. I mean, that was a great look by them. I also think it's great. Ooh, we have Scuffle here in the jungle.
A little bit of a scuffle here in the jungle as my cat tries to make it difficult for me to cast this right now. And it looks like Victor gets a kill for himself. Rise running away as the boys try to chase him down. Some good damage firing back, but it looks like the fight will be over for now.
Yeah, catching One Punch Zach, just, you know, walking through his jungle. Great look here, kind of catching him out after that top play, watching him rotate down. This is kind of what I was talking about with Victor. Of course, they both go for the Rod of Ages, wanting to get a little bit more durability, you know, recognizing as they go for a tower dive here.
Oh, they're going under. They're looking for the Rise. You may be able to stall a bit of time, but they're looking to put you down. Jax came in to try to stop and get something himself, but he was pushed away immediately.
Yeah, I got to recognize, you know, shout out to Pizza Party. That Bramble Smash was buffered absolutely perfect. Great job to stop Counter-Strike. You know, that TP is just, and you know, of course, we know the changes to TP here in season 25 is just, it's not the same, especially early on. I mean, it just does not give you the same effect that it used to. So just that TP kind of wasted and delayed here as we see martial arts on the top side on this Renekton just eating away at this first hour. Whew, and the feats are still up for grabs. We're still ready to see what happens. These objectives are going to make that call.
I know one of them went to the Tristana, one of those feats. But the rest of this, like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of this has been dictated by the fact that Maelstrom has been trying to move a bit too fast, and TMG has just put up a wall in front of him and said, no, you can't walk over us like that. And it has been really well done by TMG to kind of just respond. And I literally was asking you the question on how do they get back into it, and they got back into it. But look, you're Maelstrom now. and both of your plays right there just got completely shut out. What are you trying to do in this situation? These questions are being answered for you right now, man. It is a engage, but it looks like a counter engage comes out. Good damage on to the Tristana, but we're gonna have to walk away from this.
Yeah, what I was gonna say is something that they did very well. Is I'm gonna let you take back over here.
Looks like this fight is just gonna be a back and forth between the tanks for right now. Varus is a bit too far away to get anything done, so continue, please.
All right. Yeah, this is a bloody game. You know what I was gonna say here. Of course, this Victor already getting played. Grand Starfall. Ooh.
That was a cosmetic ultimate.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Hey, flash for Grand Starfall. I think that's a trade we would all take.
I mean,
as
yeah.
you see this topside fight going down again.
I mean, they're just swinging at each other. These two beefy boys beating on each other, but the 6'3" tatted E-boy is trying to put down Marshall right now. He's got martial skills of his own. He's showing you with that staff. He's going to put you down. The Renekton ultimate comes, though, and he's looking to put down the Jax. It looks like it's a bit too much distance, though. Can we save ourselves? Marshall trying to stall for some time, trying to get some healing. He will not. One punch Zach puts him down.
I was gonna say, something you want to do is twofold. You know, if you're Maelstrom Esports, is do exactly that. Try to catch one of the side lanes out of position, or try to dive. You know, something that I think Evokers have done really well in this to help get them back in the game is they recognize, like, hey, Crushing Rock on this lethality Varus can just, like, obliterate the wave and keep himself safe. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna rotate Pizza Party on this Maokai around and try to make plays on the map, which is exactly what they did. So as Maelstrom, if you're not going to be able to counter those plays, you want to look to pressure and, like I said, maybe dive, or, you know, that attempt that we saw to kind of get on Crushing Rock, or pick on those side lanes, as we saw on the side with martial arts. Of course, they are going to try to take down. Ooh, Solstice in a little bit of trouble, able to escape the Nature's Grasp there. That Blast Cone, his best friend, as the second Drake of the game goes over to Evokers.
I mean, right there, it's kind of what we were talking about in picks and bans, what we want to see them do. It's just using that mobility to get involved on the map. They understood that right there when Pantheon went up topside, they're probably going to lose Drake. And they knew that, and they got that T1. I don't know if they got anything else on top of that, but they got the pick and they got the T1. So it's a tit-for-tat sort of situation right there. And if they keep doing that, they got to make sure their trades are worth it.
Absolutely. And, you know, unfortunately, you know, TMG Evokers able to get that dragon, pick up this mid lane turret, open up the map for themselves. Definitely feeling very comfortable about how they're set up right now. You know, the ability with that tower down to kind of help set them up to be first to these objectives and set up these favorable team fights. We really have to start seeing them kind of do whatever they can to get this Jax or this Rise ahead. You know, Grand Starfall, or we need to use the Realm Warp really well. We've got to be able to get these side laners ahead, so you have a way to put pressure. Because at this point, your 3-1 Tristana is just matching up against another 3-kill 80 carry, and you're not going to be able to apply the pressure you want. So I want to see Maelstrom Esports really try to put some resources into getting one of their solo laners ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Jax is kind of your best option for that right now because of just how much he's got the counter matchup. You know, the Renekton is willing to fight into him, whereas Victor has seemed a bit more, while he seems willing at time, he's seemed a bit more reserved. He hasn't been recognizing it, and I see he's recognizing that a gank is coming his way. The 6'3" Teddy boy can see over those rocks. He's able to leap away. Shen came just in case he needed the help, and Tristana was also there. But
yeah,
looks like it was enough to dissuade.
Surprised they didn't want to try to fight that. You don't have the Varus there. You have Grand Starfall. You had Tristana moving. You know, Victor is a big part of the power that TMGE has, as we see another fight going here.
Talking about power and power in the teleportation, power in the movement, and if we can't make them move, we'll make them fight. Jax teleports in, and it looks like the team are here. The team is here, and we're stunning out one. One punch Zach will get taken down in what looks like one punch. We're getting chased down. Jax is going to fall very, very soon, and TMG will march forward, stunning out the Shen, and will put down the Shen. No, that was actually the Tristana. I thought it was the Shen. The Shen was able to slip away briefly. It looks like Rise pumping in some damage into the Renekton, but it only tickles. 3 members fall for MES.
Yeah, just a very late TP for French Caps on his Rise. Just too much was done. You know, by the time he got there, the fight was over. Like you know, Tatted Boy was already caught out. They were already getting a ton of damage onto Ventura, and just, this is going to be full control of that top side and likely going to be the Otacon.
I mean, that topside turret. Yeah, it is right now. Looks like a bit of an engagement coming through. We got the Grand Starfall, and we're falling down looking for this Victor. Victor, though, having the flash away. A chase is on, though. French Caps trying to slip away. Renekton's on the way, and Renekton will swing that glaive around and smash down French Caps into the dirt. Pantheon will get a kill, and will get return killed by Jim Ventura. Following it up with the Renekton kill himself. It is a 2 for 2 so far, and we're looking to make those numbers a bit more favored in one side. But it looks like TMG is trying to favor it in their side. Volibear leading the charge, and Volibear running into this Tristana, but soon we'll find the Shen instead. Jax jumps in on the backside, the root comes down, but it's a bit too late to help with that kill. Varus gets shut down, but so does the Tristana. 3 for 3, we're moving it, trying to make it a 4 for 3, and we will. Volibear takes him down, looking to turn that double kill to a triple kill. The shield is there. Ventura has to fight for his life and will not live to tell the tale. Triple kill for the Volibear.
Oh, man, that is just the power of that Cosmic Drive Volibear, the extra ability haste on all those abilities, the healing that he's going to get through that, just the ability to stick it out there. We're going to give a quick replay as we look at how this play unfolded. French Caps, unfortunately, the Realm Warp here just very unfortunate. He comes in to kind of like try to save, E-Boy on this top side. Oh, it looks like this is the first fight. My apologies. Yes. Yeah, and this is where we see just such a late teleport here. The teleport by French Boy, we see it starting, but it channels so late, and he's in a position where, like, the fight's already going on. It's already done here, and Caps isn't even inside it. One Punch Zac is already down before Caps even gets to it. Yeah, very unfortunate, very late TP here, and then just getting continually caught. The amount of reliable, easy-to-execute CC that Evokers has just, makes these plays so simple to execute.
I mean, realistically, it is so much just it's too many parts are falling together and not falling together correctly for MSC. The second fight, though, break this down for me. Here.
Yeah, he tries to, like, save Floops against One Punch Zac, but kind of just gets free hit by this Renekton. And, of course, Ventura just, again, not able to do enough early on until E-Boy gets there with the flash, too, to make that happen. And, of course, as those who know, Volibear in extended fights just really showing the true power and the ability to kind of sustain. Got to give huge credit to Pizza Party. His Bramble Smashes have been absolutely on point. Absolutely great timing here. Great use of the ward there. E-Boy able to pick up some kills. We do see that Jax. As we get back into live, quite a few things happen here. Looks like the Otacon has gone over to the side of Maelstrom Esports as, looks like Floop's a little caught out. Realm Warp going to try to get in there and pick him off. That's just going to be one down on the side of Maelstrom Esports, still with a 5K gold deficit.
Looks like Floops was trying to get a bit too active, but we're going to get active in the mid lane now. Catching Pantheon with the root and catching Pantheon with all the CC in the world, making us godlike. Jim, putting on a show.
Yeah, absolutely. This Volibear just showing absolutely why this is just kind of a priority pick and such a strong piece of the jungle meta at the moment, as it looks like he may be running down this E-Boy. We're getting a teleport. This could be a 2v1 here.
But looking to catch him down. The Volibear will show you why he's vital, why he does so much. The stun is there onto the Renekton, but is it enough time? That is a good leap away, but it's not going to buy enough time. The stun goes down, and Jim picks up another one for himself.
Yeah, of course, E-Boy.
But in the meantime, topside, we shut down the Maokai. We're able to slow that down, but Varus is on the chase, putting some good damage into the Tristana. Victor's here. Floops is back, and Floops almost puts down the Tristana.
Yeah, great use of that Buster shot to get that Victor away. And yeah, that piercing arrow just so close to... the sapling. The sapling giving Ventura a scare, but it does look like he's going to give away. Okay. As we are about 3 minutes out from our next Dragon Soul point for Evokers. Of course, Baron now spawned at 25 minutes, giving them, kind of the macro call here as they can kind of look to force for this Baron. As, of course, Maelstrom Esports does have to defend that, so we'll see how they decide to spread the map out as we kind of approach both objectives being up.
I mean, right here, you're in this sort of awkward spot with Maelstrom because you kind of had an explosive start and you just absolutely crashed after a certain point. And it's got to be really hurtful to the momentum and like the team sort of thought process to the game. Right now, you have a sort of even point in terms of just where you're standing on the map. Obviously, you're going to walk into TMG, but how are we going to try and do it? I say that. TMG walking into the Pantheon. Pantheon's rooted, and now pushed away. Gets rooted over the wall, but we're going over the wall. We're flying over the wall. But this Volibear's taking so much damage. There's Tristana fighting back, firing back. The shielding goes on to protect himself, but not the same can be said for French Caps. He gets a couple of shields, but he will not get enough to shield himself away from death.
Yeah, interesting that Stand United was off cooldown and available that whole fight, but didn't get used. You know, maybe an opportunity to get Caps out of there, but of course, likely going to be the Baron. Of course, Solstice going to kind of, you know, space it out, see what options he can find, but you got to imagine this will be a pretty easy Baron take. As we do see Tided E-Boy teleporting in, so it looks like they're going to try to contest.
The stars will fall and the fight will begin. We're looking and we're getting some good CC locking down. What looks like Floops is here. We're looking to stop this Victor from doing what he does best, and that is team fight. Floops will put down one punch Zach, and the fight is looking to go in the favor of TMG. A lot of damage is going into them, but too much damage is going into the 6'3" tatted E-Boy, and the E-Boy will be his E-Death this time around. Ventura looking to survive for a little bit longer, but will not put enough damage to kill all four. Renekton on the chase will put down Solstice, and that is almost a full wipe. The only thing is, French Caps died about, 30 seconds before.
Yeah, she's going to be able to catch that wave, but absolutely dominant pick there. Maelstrom Esports kind of just, it looks like they kind of just threw it at the wall to see if they could get something to stick there. Great ability, from Evokers to kind of peel for Crushing Rock, get it to where he and Floops can kind of space back. Of course, E-Boy just so close to being able to shut down that 80 carry in that fight. But as they peeled back, able to continue to kind of show that three-man front with Renekton, Volibear, and Maokai, and let those carries kind of pump out damage. And hey, this is a pretty dominant position. You have full Baron, you have strong side lanes. We're gonna go take a look at this dragon. And the only silver lining here for Maelstrom Esports is they don't, Evokers don't have a ton of vision. They are going to secure that crab, get to see any additional vision for themselves. But of course, TMGE going to be first to the pit as we look for Soul Point.
We are looking right now, but it looks like we're also posturing in the mid lane, trying to see if we can get anything done. We have all this movement, but we're not using it at this point. I mean, obviously, we're not in the retroactive position to be active, but we could send... we now have Ryze in the top side, so we're getting him some farm. We're trying to get him a bit more. Are we going to try and make the split push play and try to get something done that way, or are we going to do something? Are we looking to just team fight? What are we trying to do here?
I mean, I think you have to try to get gold, pick up any gold possible. I think trying to commit to this tower, but I think if you're going to commit, I think you have to fight this Renekton. I think you just force it right here, and you got to all in this Renekton as well. Of course, they are going to go ahead and opt to just take that, as Floops is going to go ahead and be frustrated.
Look, bot side tower
as well.
Bot side, Floops just kills Tristana on the bot side, and Pantheon will be able to put down Floops, but it's too much damage, and the Tristana goes down. Tristana leaked into that, by the way, trying to put some damage into Floops, and Floops just folds her. And speaking of folding, we're looking to fold down this E-Boy right now, and folded with a Renekton will be, but folded will the Jax in return. Volibear's fighting into two. French Caps taking some pain, taking some damage, but the CC is there. We're trying to fly away with this blast cone, and we will, but we're leaving Solstice to face the wrath of the bear god himself. That's a bit too much damage. Solstice will stall for time, but a legendary Volibear will run towards the bot side, as it looks like the inhib tower will fall, and this inhib will go down with it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Of course, he's now chasing him around the map. Looks like he is going to go ahead and pick on him as he's got a blast cone out of there, as we do see them take that bottom inhibitor. I think that was a really bad call for Maelstrom Esports. I mean, I think you're in that 2v1. You have a frontliner for you to kind of dance around. Of course, Ryze has mobility. He has that phase rush. For him to not try to get the pick on that Volibear there, I think was a huge mistake. And unfortunately, now you lost your support. You lost two inhibs, and you got the shutdown on the Renekton. Great, you got a little bit of gold, but you missed out on so much there, as you really didn't trade back effectively. So I mean, it's really tough for Maelstrom Esports at this point. I think Evokers are going to have to make a couple of back-to-back pretty egregious mistakes for Maelstrom to find their way back into this one.
I mean, right now, we're... well, first off, I'm happy that this Volibear is not going to be able to be played for the rest of the set. But on a serious note, we as Maelstrom need to be more... I feel like we need to be more decisive on what exactly we want to do.
Yeah.
Because right there, we went towards topside, we got that T2, and then we got to be out. We have to be gone. Renekton wasn't chasing us. We had to be gone. But then we got caught by Volibear. And then we stayed up topside again as the Rise for a bit too long, and Volibear caught up to us. It's so awkward now, but Maelstrom, what are we doing here to get this for ourselves? Like, get back into it.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, I think as we've seen this game fold out, their decisiveness early on in that 2v2 in bot was really kind of where their pressure was. I think, honestly, though, here at this stage, Evokers are gonna make a mistake. Holy
French
damage
caps,
coming out from that Victor.
Holy damage and holy death right there. It looks like Rise is going down. He will do anything but Rise. He will go down. And there's a lot of damage. Pizza Party will CC him down, and Floops will put him down. Volibear disabling that tower to make sure. One punch, Zach will go down, and another punch goes into that Tristana real quick, and you see him moving at Mach 12 to try to put down this Tristana. But Ventura will slip away, barely. A stun is there. The Zonias comes out from the Jax to slip away, to stall some time, but there's some good damage, and it looks like the base is going to be sieged.
Yeah, this is realistically just going to be the end of the game here. I don't think Tata Boy and Ventura can hold up. Maybe we'll see some great plays as he is going to try. But
Stun's there, Ventura flips in, and Ventura will flip into the dirt or face plants into it, and E-Boy goes down, the base will be taken, and the game will go to TMG. Wow.
Absolutely great performance from TMG Evokers, coming back from what looked like it was going to be a very, very easy game from Maelstrom Esports, who started the game off absolutely incredible. I mean, I thought Ventura and Solstice, it was a great read, their ability to kind of, hey, they don't have this flash, we have this ability level 2, let's make the play, and they did. And then, I thought the Pantheon did a great job of being able to rotate. One Punch Zach did a good job of trying to push on that pressure point and get them to snowball and snowball and snowball. But holy cow, Evokers picked their moment at the Grubs and was able to turn the game back in their favor. And once they pressed on the gas, they never let it go. Something I like to do with all these series that I ever cast is I kind of like to look at kind of your player of the game. So if you had to pick one player on the side of TMG Evokers, for performance of this game, who would you give?
I mean, I'm tempted to just say Jim, right? Because bro just put in numbers, put in work, but I can't. Pizza, I can't discredit him because how much setup he did, how perfectly timed some of his abilities were, how much he supported his team to show exactly what Jim went turbo nuclear, Floops went turbo nuclear because of how much Pizza did. I think I gotta, as much as I want to give it to Jim, I think I gotta give it to Pizza.
I say I would actually agree with you, and I know something I've been called out on my own cast before is trying to look at the games, because 80 carries, right? They get a lot of love. High damage gets a lot of love. But the setup, I mean, like you said, Pizza Party made that game easy for Crush and Rook, easy for Floops. He supported the rest of that team in making those plays happen. And I'm with you. I think it was a great performance on the Maokai, and I am excited to see what he pulls out as we go through the rest of this Fearless series.
Well, we will be taking a quick break as we get ready for this next game in this Fearless series. So we will be right back. See you real soon. Welcome back to the Titan League Immortal Division. We have the TMG Evokers versus the Maelstrom Esports. That game was very, very interesting, to say the least. It started off as kind of like, at least how I expected it to, getting active on the map, and then it kind of just fell apart.
Yeah, that's one of those, like, I think we've all had those solo queue games where, like, you're in top lane and you're watching, and then, like, all of a sudden your bot lane's died, and then your bot lane died again, and then your bot lane died. You're like, man, it's just one of those games.
Man.
And then Evokers just flipped the switch. We gave Pizza Party shout out for last match. Absolutely incredible Nature's Grasp. Perfect setup. They won a huge team fight around Grubs, and then they kind of just never let go. They put their foot on the gas and just ran with that game. Maelstrom Esports tried to fight back, but kind of what I was talking about in draft, Maelstrom Esports comp was very difficult to execute. Yes, I think there's a lot of power. Jax and Rise, if they can get ahead, they are absolute monsters to deal with in the side lane. But as we saw, they never got ahead. They never got a chance to get a gold lead and really try to push that and use those, Grand Starfall and Realm Warp and those things to their advantage. And unfortunately, TMG Evokers, like their comp is just so much easier to execute. I mean, Volibear just runs at you. Like, it's not hard to mess up, right? Nature's Grasp, you got to point and click. I mean, it was very easy for them to execute, and they did a fantastic job of picking their moments and kind of putting that game away.
Well, we'll see if they build a comp in the similar fashion, because we are going into picks and bans right now. It is a fearless draft, so every pick you saw last game will no longer be available for either side to go for. You see at the bottom of the screen right now, every pick that was played no longer is available in the pool. The bans, though, as we have swapped sides, so far are the same. The Mbessa taken away.
Yeah, you got to imagine Zach will be a pick here. We'll see if they decide to keep things like the Lucian, the Ivern. Most of the time, these 3 bans don't change a lot. As we get into this, the sets of 5, sometimes we see some differences. Sometimes, blue side to red side teams will let things through that they want to play. But so far, looking pretty standard. We're going to see that Way picked up again, Lucian picked up again. You got to imagine Ivern will be in the set. And like you said, it'll be interesting to see if TMGE decides to go for a similarly styled team comp where they kind of, easy to execute, front to back team fight, peel for your carries, or if they do something different. And Maelstrom Esports, are you going to abandon that strategy and try something different, or are you going to double down and try something like that again?
There is a champ that was banned last time that is available this time, because Hui was in the second round of bans, to my knowledge at least. I don't know if it was Skarner, but Skarner is the first pick. And tell me exactly what this does in the first pick.
So it's Skarner jungle, Skarner top. In my personal opinion, absolutely unplayable. Skarner jungle, I mean, it is very solid. Front line, you've got some engaged opportunities. I will say he is significantly weaker. He was a huge part of the meta at the end of last year, and for the big, the latter half of the year, absolutely dominant. But his clear has since been kind of weakened, which does make him a little harder to deal with. A little harder to kind of push through. So we'll see. It's not quite the power pick that it used to be, but it does look like Maelstrom Esports switching it up. Frontline, hyper carry, as we look to completely flip what our team comp styles are going to do. TMGE, however, locking in very standard MF, Rel, absolute wombo. Will be interesting to see if they continue to draft things to kind of line up those ultimate abilities and kind of look for those synergies. As yes, a Lilia Lullaby, the sleep not being woken up by bullet time. Another interesting ultimate interaction from TMGE as we get into these top side bans.
Now, the Mordekaiser was what was banned in the first round last time, and it made it all the way through this time, but is banned in the second round. Something I've usually seen prioritized is support matchups. A lot of the time, supports will wait till the latter half of the draft to pick their pick, and they'll force the first pick side to pick their support, so the second pick side can get their support counter pick. But it seems like the bot lanes have just been already locked in at this point. And what's the support matchup here? Obviously it's Rel versus Braum, but how do you feel about it? As it looks like top laner, mid laner, as the bans right there.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to be very careful. MF has a lot of raw power in the beginning. However, Rel full engaging on Brahm's a little difficult. There is a range advantage that you're going to have, especially early on in the first few waves from Aphelios. So I definitely have to lean towards the Aphelios Braum in this one. Although I do think there is some inherently some better team fight options that we do see from the Rel versus the Braum. However, the Braum disengage, it's traditionally what he's drafted for, kind of second to none, and we do see that here. Braum also a very good counter to MF, as that wall blocking a ton of damage from bullet time. So definitely something that, TMG probably should have thought about. I have to definitely lean towards Maelstrom Esports on this bot side. So we see Camille, Syndra, Galio, and Cassante as our solo lane pickups.
I'm really interested to this Camille Cassante matchup. Two characters that, at least to some extent, correct me if I'm wrong here. Camille likes to move around a lot. She likes to move around a lot, and she likes to, kind of weave in and out. Cassante, on the other hand, stands in front of you and beats the hell out of you while CCing you. They're two relatively different characters. How does that matchup go?
So, as most Camille matchups, Camille hits a point unless she's super behind. If they're even or she's ahead, she hits a point where Camille will never lose that matchup, should never lose that matchup. However, what a lot of people don't realize, and you see this a lot in low elo too, is that Cassante has a lot of agency early on. Until you kind of start to get a lead or you hit specific item spikes, Cassante can fight back. Cassante absolutely has the ability to get a solo kill and fight back against this Camille. So we'll definitely need to watch that. However, as the game goes on, you get the Trinity Force, you get these lifesteal items and things, Pull Breaker, as Camille kind of gets into that mid and late game. Camille is going to be a force to be reckoned with. That true damage that she's got built into her kit, absolutely devastating. But like I said, how the early lane can be played, Cassante has a lot of agencies.
Well, we'll see how much agency he uses as we move into game right now. It is I'm super excited to see this lane because it just seems like a very brawly lane to me. And I love those brawly top lane fights. But right now, you see this 5-man grouping once again from... It looks like TMG is not the ones... TMG last time did get their flash caught on their carry, on their ADC. And it looks like this time around, we're trying to catch it maybe on Cassante. A lot of emotes coming out right now. I don't know what they're doing, but...
Yeah, they're just kind of doing the opposite of what they did last time, is you do see, of course, Crushing Rock in the bottom, fully prepared to stay away from the potential 5-man invade. It does look like Maelstrom Esports maybe trying to see if they'll catch Martial Arts slacking a little bit. If he's going to
just standing there.
That. But yeah, I think they did a great job of getting some vision in the jungle for TMGE, and then just a very defensive position on this top side. So,
right here,
she's successful this time.
Right here we have another interesting matchup that I really have not seen too much of. This mid lane matchup. I am very, very curious to see. Obviously, it's the range versus melee advantage, but Galio generally does really well into these ranged characters. Who do you feel like has the edge here?
Early on, it's Galio, not close. Of course, definitely an interesting trade. Not sure how I feel about that, as he's going to miss some minions, too. I think that's just a weird call from Floops there, but generally, Galio has some great all-in potential early. You see that Aftershock, his ability to kind of tank up some things early on. But of course, Syndra, one of those hyper-scaling champions. But yeah, Galio tends to kind of, do very well into these matchups, provide great frontline for his team. He can get wave priority early on, although, Caps, as we see at the top there, he's going to take a very favorable trade for the side of Floops there. But of course, Galio will hit a point where Syndra just has complete control of the wave because of, usually it's around Lost Chapter, depending on her build, where she can just kind of fully dump the caster minions with a QW. And at that point, it's very hard because Galio can kind of get pushed under the lane repetitively and doesn't really able to get prio. So it'll be interesting to see how they take advantage of him getting prio early on in this game.
Right here you have a situation where you get a sort of aggressive. You want to get aggressive in the mid, aggressive in the top. Speaking of aggression right now, Cassante using that agency you spoke of before, and beating the hell out of Camille. You've got this sort of lane advantage for TMG in both these lanes. right? Obviously, Caps did get a couple of favorable trades right there, and we saw those. But you've got this Galio who's known to, take advantage of these mages in the early game. And then Cassante, like you said before, has agency in this matchup early on and can, bully the Camille a bit. I want to see something to come from this aggression.
Yeah, he's got to be careful here. The no mana thing. But as we saw, obviously, Cassante has agency, is able to put it up. But now he's still level down. Unfortunately, just kind of a lazy backing in that first bush, getting canceled. Great job by Tatted D-Boy there. So he's definitely at a disadvantage here. I think I'd love to see Tatted D-Boy, for those who play a lot of solo lanes, kind of that smothering technique that's been made pretty famous by like Faker and Anchovy and a couple of those really strong mid laners. Like, if Tatted D-Boy can just try to like pin this Cassante in lane, low mana, try to keep that position there for him to get a favorable back off. I mean, like I said, Cassante has agency early on in this game, but Camille will hit a point where she's just going to eat through Cassante's resistances, and it's not going to matter.
I mean, yeah, but at that point, I feel like martial arts knows enough to where he's just not going to walk at Camille and take all of that damage. It's really just a situation of somebody else is going to have to deal with her, because at this point, she kicks my butt. And there's really nothing I could do about it, because she's got her funny number items, and I can't do anything. But it looks like we're trying to get something done, grabbing the Rel here, but she will be able to leap away and get herself to safety.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I'm interested to see kind of how these fights play out. Of course, the Galio being taken away, with the Camille pickup, not really allowing or wanting them to get that Camille Galio combination that they could have gotten. But yeah, there's a good front to back team comp, or ability from the side of Maelstrom Esports with the Syndra and Aphelios. Of course, they have two strong frontliners, as we see a little bit of action in the bot side.
Looks like a good bit of damage going into Ventura here, but the Rel is trying to get a bit closer. Braum using that disengage, using that damage to make sure Rel takes some pain. The exhaust used to slow her down, but even more damage is going to MF, but the Braum is taking a bit too much, and it looks like Solstice, we'll see you in the next Solstice, because you go down, and Rel's chased him down, looking for more, and will double kill once again, going in the bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, as you saw, Braum handling that disengage very, very well, and then they just kind of overstayed. Crushing Rocket and Pizza Party, holding their cooldowns, playing that very, very well, and allowing them to get a double kill, kind of the inverse of what we saw here in game one, with Ventura taking the lead here. So MF starting off very, very strong.
And that's also so good for an MF, too, because you want her to get to that point where she's just hitting bullet time and hitting everybody and killing everybody.
Yeah, we'll have to see, though, that Braum shield. I mean, the Unbreakable is just very, very good.
You are so right with that. It is such a huge deterrent for that Misfortune, and having that accelerated start is just so strong for them here. Was that no, it wasn't the Syndra ultimate. For some reason, I thought that was her ultimate. No, it was not burned. I was about to say, I was like, why would she ever do that? No, she didn't. She's not stupid.
You still got to be careful of that. I mean, you see a lot of times how Synders can kind of get themselves in trouble is that using that scatter the weak, and it's like, okay, now you have nothing. Like if the jungler happens to be here, or if the Galio just flashes on you or something, like now you've got a flash. You don't have that defensive ability. So I think that cooldown is definitely going to be one to monitor, especially early on in this laning phase. We do see TMGE a little bit of fighting happening here as they do try to fight over this first dragon, but it is not going to go uncontested, it looks like.
You say that,
Ooh,
but it looks like they go uncontested right now because Skarner doesn't get in. And now the spot side, it looks like Zach is kind of patiently waiting for his moment to strike, and he's not going to find it, so he's going to look for the reset. I mean, they looked like they were interested in fighting, and then just didn't take it.
Yeah, I think
too much hesitation.
Yeah, I think a big part of that, too, is the cooldown with Floops being level 6. And Syndra not having priority in that mid wave, as we talked about, not being able to have it early.
Marshall in a bit of danger here, but some good damage coming out. The silence is there, though, and Marshall goes down. E-Boy takes it.
Yeah, this is a rough spot to be in. That wave, we'll see what Tad E-Boy decides to do with it, but potentially able to freeze that. As One Punch Zach, not quite sure what we're doing down here in the bot lane. Looks like he's trying to get him off this wave a little bit. Looks like they will be able to do so. This wave is going to be pushing towards them, so going to be able to zone them off of some minions and XP, as we do see a small lead here for Ventura. About one will be 2 waves after he collects collects these minions.
Even with that huge...
Oh.
That's always so goofy looking. She's stealing my rock!
Oh my gosh.
That is
That's
an invade attempt that is thwarted completely by the Syndra right there. Looks like in the bot side, though, it is a bit of an engagement. The Rel's going in looking for Ventura, and Ventura will be Ventor gone right there. As the Misfortune picks one up for herself, the Rel's trying to chase him in, chase him down. The stun is down, and a bit more damage from this Misfortune will seal his fate, but Solstice is not going down just yet. Pizza Party has to back away.
Yeah, and then we see another 2v2 pickup here for the side of TMGE, definitely getting their revenge from game 1. Playing this 2v2 very well.
Battering the MES duo.
Yeah, maybe MES just not fully understand. It's like you kind of just want to like sit back, be protected, scale, and they're just kind of like playing a little too aggressive, feeling like they want a 2v2, and like Aphelios will hit a point where Aphelios will do so much work, but you're not there. You're not there early on. I mean, Aphelios is one of the weakest champs early on in the game. So it's just very interesting that they're kind of like putting themselves in these positions to fight. So we'll have to see if they can adjust and get some scaling done for Ventura here.
So if you are the Skarner right here, I saw him, well, we both saw him, you know, gesturing towards this bot side. But it seems like there really hasn't been a successful sort of rotation over there. You had the one point where you did get the Rel briefly, but it seems like it's not going to work down there. Where are we going to try to get something done?
It's kind of tough. I think that your best option here is, because you have Hextech Ultimatum in the top side, you really want to look to see if you can snowball this Camille. We have a big fight going on here.
Big fight, big damage. Unstoppable he is, but unstoppable will be met with, you know, missing. So you're not unstoppable that time around. Zach taking a bit of a dive under the ground, but some good damage is there. Galio comes down, slams down, and Ventura, feeling the pain, will be slammed down into the ground. But Skarner's pulling in one, and that is the carry right there, taking a lot. The barrier comes down, but shut down will be the Misfortune. A big bounty for the Skarner. One punch Zach, taking him with him. And now the Syndra is here, and the Syndra will lock down. Make sure Zach gets another one for himself. Maybe not the one you wanted it on just that time, but Zach secures another one in the kill slot.
Yeah, little overextension from TMGE, picking up that kill. Just great play by One Punch Zach, though. Of course, that Impale doing so much work. Going to get a quick replay of kind of how this all started. Of course, the Braum, you know, finishing the recall there, so unfortunate, but ends up turning out okay, as this is just a great use of that ultimate. You know, we see from the Galleon so much power there, able to kind of get Ventura, pretty much have him completely locked down. But again, this Impale, so much work. And you see that, he kind of just like walked forward, not sure if they were just trying to get some extra damage down or what that was, but definitely overstaying a little bit and then causing, you know, what turned out to be a whole nother kill.
Look at the fight that's going on on the live right now. Braum gets to hop away, though. Bit of safety because his teammate was there on the wall. Looks like there is going to be a bit of a disengage, but the stun is hit by the Syndra, which means it's time to go. But it looks like the stun is there, will dissuade any more chase. Pizza Party getting a good CC to keep him down.
Yeah, those two kills. Of course, you do want that to go over to the Syndra, but, you know, One Punch Zach going to be very happy about that, as French Caps getting all in by Floops here.
Floops is in, and now Pizza Party's here to set up some more time, and some more time is not what French Cap has, because Jim picks up a kill.
Yeah, and this is what you got to be worried about in the mid and late game here, is the Syndra, while powerful and scaling they're going to be, is she's so immobile. She has no real escape, especially if Scout of the Week is on cooldown. She's got no way out. And they have a ton of reliable CC on the side of TMGE. So we'll have to see how that goes out. As Pizza Party looks like
he not looking like a party.
A big mistake here.
It's not looking like a party because we see the engage coming out and the exhaust comes down. We're looking for Crushing Rock, and Rock is going to be put to the rocks, joining the dirt. You will return to the soil. Ventura picks up a kill for himself.
Yeah, that is going to be huge. Great job there. That just seems like a misposition for Pizza Party there, kind of getting himself in trouble and baiting Crushing Rock in there a little bit, as, ooh, a big misplay.
Oh no, man. Not again. We saw this before from Marshall. The Ignite comes down, though, and E-Boy getting slowed down, getting stunned, getting pulled in, but the Camille will latch on, fly towards him, and onto his shoulders, putting him down, snapping that neck. Marshall will fall.
Absolutely great job of kind of baiting out that flash and waiting a second before finalizing that hook shot. the all-out misplayed by martial arts, not able to get him through that wall. And this is kind of what we were talking about. We're starting to get to that point now where, like, even martial arts, you can see from that play, recognizes, like, hey, I've got to make a play on this Camille now because it doesn't get better for me as the game goes on. And unfortunately, it doesn't get better for you now as Tatted E-Boy picks that up again. And TMGE are going to go ahead and trade that for the second dragon of the game. Looks like we are going to have an Infernal Soul, one of the more favorite souls I know for the production team and myself. We love to see some Infernal Souls. What's your favorite soul, Val? What do you like to see?
I'm gonna be honest. I do like myself a Earth Soul. You know. Yeah,
Okay.
I like that. But tell me, this Infernal Soul, which team benefits more?
So personally, I think it leans a little bit towards Maelstrom Esports, the pure burst damage that we have from French caps. I think kind of gives you a huge benefit. But honestly, both teams, I mean, are going to want it. I also think MES, if they can get towards Soul, that's also going to be an Infernal Soul with 4 Infernal Drag stacked, as we see a fight starting again.
It looks like the top laners are just kind of trading with each other right here. Even though Marshall has been soloed twice, he's not dissuaded by this fact. And he's using this agency that you mentioned before to make sure he gets his, his reps in with the Camille before it becomes too impossible for him to do so. And I mean, I'm perfectly fine with him doing this as long as he doesn't bite off more than he can chew like he has been. Right?
Yeah,
it's so, you got to be careful.
Agreed, and I think a big part of him is credit to martial arts. He's recognizing the Camille hasn't backed. Hasn't spent all that money, still sitting on just Triforce, and really trying to take the fact that she has low mana. She went Trinity Force first as Floop's in trouble.
Floops was in trouble, and then he pushed the funny flash button. And then he got away. F is for funny and also for flash right there. So he got away, able to get himself to safety for now. And it looks like we do have a bit of a, those quote-unquote lane swaps. They are we're going where the farm is and where we can be for that farm. And right now, the mid laners are both on bot side, but it looks like top side, there's a bit of a grouping going on. And it looks like they're posturing for a potential fight. This Rift Herald was picked up, but pulled way out of the ring right now. Lilia's trying to pick it up for herself and trying to fight it, I assume. Looks like, though, the Skarner has no interest in contesting it. What is he doing exactly right now?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely down a ton of farm. Those 2 kills picked him up. I think a big thing here is again, if you're a Skarner, you've got to pick a focal point. Like, you're not out farming Lilia, right? Like, it's never going to happen. If you try to play that game, she's just going to outscale you and be way far up on farm. But it does look like they may be looking at something a little on his top side, but martial arts going to get himself out, and now they're just kind of doing nothing. Pete's probably looking for a fight.
Needs help. Solstice needs help because that big ultimate was there, but Solstice is getting locked down and put down. Jim picks up a kill, and the blast code is used to slip away by the Skarner. And rip your boy. I mean, that's all I can really say.
Yeah, I mean, the silver lining, they are going to give some of this bot tower away, but Floop's able to commit that teleport as he did walk up to the mid lane to be around for that fight. So he's going to be able to stop it. I think just much better macro calls, recognizing where all the players were from TMGE and Maelstrom Esports maybe just a little lost on how they want to execute this game plan going forward. I mean, TMGE not stopping the gas, just keeping it on there, going to break open this mid tower. Yeah, Maelstrom Esports just looking a little lost right now.
I mean, right now we're getting engaged on the top side. Some good damage from Marshall, though. Are we going to get E-Boy down? Some good damage is there, but the CC might be better. The shielding is good, and E-Boy will slip out with a sliver of HP. And now we're going to try to slip out. Marshall flashing the emote real quick before he gets away. The Skarner won't be able to finish the kill.
And that was very, very, very well played by martial arts. We were talking about his ability to kind of use the wave control and keep Tattered E-Boy pinned under tower. Something I want to point out, Camille opting for the Trinity Force, opting for that powerful duelist item first off, going away from Ravenous Hydra and that Tiamat, so she does have less wave control, less ability to get that wave in. Great job by martial arts taking advantage of that, keeping her shoved under tower. And I think that's also what partially leads to that play on the top side is like, Tattered E-Boy is 2-0. She has a decent amount of gold. She's a good part of your damage. She's pinned to her tower. She can't be a part of those fights. And because of that, as we see him trying to fight again in the mid lane, Ventura.
Looks like bullet time comes down, which means it's time to take down. A health bar's a little bit, but it looks like nobody's going to fall down just yet. Some good damage was put into Ventura, which means he's not really going to be able to walk up. He wants to stay around for this farm, though, which I think is perfectly fine as long as his boys are here to protect them. This dragon will be spawning soon, which means that they're looking to posture for this fight. Nothing too crazy yet. Rel's looking for it, though.
Yeah, and that's that Unbreakable doing so much damage in the bullet time, like we discussed, just kind of nullifying it. Luckily, able to get Ventura's flash to start with, but yeah, Maelstrom Esports kind of like strong arming their way into this river as we look for a fight in the bot side.
We're strong arming it here, and looks like strong arms are enough to break the big statue that is Galio. Galio trying to make his way out, but the CC is too much. Floops gets shut down, and Ventura picks it up for himself. Jim looking to be the next target on the block, but nobody will be able to take him down just yet. The boys are here, though. TMG trying to pick up where Floops left off, but we'll see if they're able to get that. Scarter will be off the mark with the grab, but Tatted will take down the Misfortune. Followed up immediately by French Caps falling, and looks like Solstice will join his brother in arms in death. And the Scarter will join right after. E-Boy's got to make his run away, as Ventura looks like he exited stage right, able to slip away and get himself to safety for now.
Yeah, and I think that was a big case of like the fight looked very good for Maelstrom Esports, right? Like use that Hextech ultimatum that we talked about. They got a pick. They turned it into a 4v5. They actually dove. We're going to get a replay here as it looks like we're going to see the TP in from Martial Arts. You know, they were able to get a pick on this back line, but Ventura was kind of out of the fight, right? As we watch this happen, we see getting the pick here. I'm not sure what this flash was. I mean, maybe just knowing that they're wanting to all in, trying to get that damage down. But look here, this Camille angle is absolutely great. Gets right onto Crushing Rock, able to shut him off. Ventura, but look, notice Ventura has no mana. So while they do get the pick onto this, they have nothing left. Ventura has nothing to really impact this fight but a couple of autos. And then recognizing he's half HP, he has no mana, he's not really able to contribute, you know, anything else in a meaningful way. And TMGE just able to finish picking up that fight.
I mean, the gas tank was empty. You can't go anywhere with the car. It's just kind of the situation that he was in right there. He put the damage in he could, and he couldn't really help his boys any more than he did. I mean, that's what you want in that situation. You don't want to just throw your life away right there. But Zach is looking to grab this Rel, but won't be able to find her. Gets the slowdown, and finally will get the grab, pulling her in. And that is a lock in, but everybody gets pulled in by the bullet time is blocked away, but now we're honk-shoeing it with this Braum. Braum falling asleep means he won't be able to block the bullet time, which means the bullets won't meet their target. Lilia will pick up the Braum, and Lilia is looking to chase down. Double kill for herself. Zach getting slowed down, and Zach getting chased down. Some good damage from the Lilia, but it won't be enough. Zach will slip away.
Yeah, great use of that. I mean, TMGE, you know, even...
Flip soloed on Caps!
Holy cow, that was unexpected. Galio doing work in the bot side.
Damn.
Wow, this game is just... Yeah, not even getting a moment to look at it. Ooh, we see it again.
Oh my goodness, that was a lot of damage onto the Camille. I don't know where that came from, and neither does she. She's looking to fly away and get anywhere but here. She's trying to come from anywhere else. Flying away with that bit of movement that she has, she's able to be safe this time.
Yeah, looks like she might sneak. Looks like she's going to sneak out of there. Yeah, that was just so much happening all at one time. This is what we talk about the agency. Like yes, Camille can win and do some damage, but one punch.
We're not looking. This is not agency right here. This is anything but, as we're locked down into the corner, put into the corner, and shoved away. Stomped like the bug he is. Atacon getting pulled, though. Atacon doing a lot right now, but it looks like we're trying to set up. Galio comes down, slams down, and puts down two more. We do lose Lilia, but we don't lose anybody else. Actually, scratch that. We're losing two more. We lose the bot lane, and that's a double kill for the Camille. We're worried about this Camille, the scaling at the point of the game where she just starts putting in numbers, putting in the work, and we're flying towards this Galio to do it again. Foot into his dome, cracking that stone real quick. Putting him down. Marshall, the only one left, and the Marshall trying to find his way to do something. He won't find anything.
Yeah, absolutely great TP by Taddy. Boy, the Camille doing so much work because they're going to keep looking for him.
They're going to keep looking for him because of all of this damage that they can put into him. He's unstoppable, but he looks pretty stopped to me because they're about to send him to the death screen.
Yeah, and this Camille absolutely humongous after picking up so many kills in that team fight. And this is what we're talking about. Like, MES wants to get this Camille ahead and be able to kind of use her as a focal point where they're pushing in the side lanes, TPing from a flank. 7-0-1. Tatted E-Boy here absolutely looking to keep his team in the game.
I mean, right now we are in a man. It is Teddy Boy is going. Oh, I don't know what they fed him for breakfast this morning, but can I have some? Like, what is going on right now? This okay? Game one, he did some good work, right? But this is a totally different beast right now. This Camille is going crazy. What?
Yeah.
I mean, he just able to move around these fights and go crazy. I feel like I don't know if this is just character based right here, but what is going on with the Scar? Is it just the Skarner's just getting outpaced completely, or is it just he can't get anything done in these fights?
Yeah, so number one, the big issue is, and this is what we talked about in draft, is his clear is bad. I mean, it was nerfed a couple of different times. That's why we saw him fall out of favor. It's like his kit still does the same things, but he definitely, and Lilia being known as one of the famous big power farming junglers, you know, steal your Mrs. Steal Your Chickens. That, you know, that's what Lilia is. And you know, Jim proving that, you know, got a good 60 CS ahead right now, 1,500 gold. Crushing Rock in a little bit of trouble.
Looks like Crushing Rock will slip away this time around, but it looks like we're getting some good CC on the Zac, and one punch Zac is looking to put a punch into the Rel, suppressing her, but it's not going to be enough because Marshall's going to pick up the kill on the Zac. And it looks like we're going in for more. Galio's coming in down, slamming in hot. Brahma knocking up 3 right there with that ultimate, but not able to finish it off because the bullet time comes through. No wall to put it up and stop that down. Ventura falls right after. The chase is on, though, and E-Boy will slip away.
Yeah, and that is going to be Infernal Soul going over to TMGE. One Punch Zac just overcommitting so hard. And, you know, we see the power of that Galio. Camille not able to find an angle on the back line, you know, being in that open side. And TMGE just kind of blowing the game wide open with this Infernal Soul and Otacon pickup in a 3-4-0.
I mean, right there, that is just... That fight... we started that fight looking for something as the Skarner, and then the Skarner kind of just was the thing getting looked at. That was brutal.
Yeah, and this is why we talked about, like you said, getting outpaced. Skarner does get outpaced. And we saw Zac, you know, he had a couple of good looks where we found some things, but Lilia just able to get more camps farmed, move around the map at a faster pace, and kind of with that ease sometimes as Zac, or excuse me, as Skarner, you're kind of locked up. Like when that Ixtal's impact goes, you're like, you're kind of, you have to go forward. Like sometimes you can go to the side or, you know, the right or the left, but you have to go forward. It kind of locks you into that play. So, you know, you get into those positions like we just saw where you overextend, now you get caught out. And now, I mean, TMGE is in a very commanding position. But on the upside, Tatted E-Boy still 7-0-1, still a monster on this Camille. You know, Maelstrom Esports needs to find a way to play through Camille right now.
If you're TMG, right, this Camille is obviously a problem. How are you dealing with this problem? Are you just avoiding her in fights completely? Or
Absolutely.
do we have to stop her?
No, I don't think stopping her is going to happen. I think you have to neutralize. I think you're okay because you have both tier 2s up at this moment, and you have the tier 2 down in mid lane for yourself. I think you're okay giving a tier 2 to like have a favorable team fight, right? I also think that we have to look at Floops and how he plays these fights moving forward. I think unless you can just absolutely blow somebody up, Floops is going to have to kind of keep an eye on Crushing Rock, and is he able to peel for his team, or the opposite, or martial arts, is he able to kind of all out and get this Camille away from the MF? That's going to be key. You know, the alternative too is Pizza Party's engaged. If they can get in and turn this into an instant 4v5, I think with Infernal Soul, Camille is just not going to be enough, no matter how fed she is.
They're looking for a bit of an engage here. Sleepy Time will come out onto the Braum, I think. No, it wasn't Sleepy Time that time. I thought it was. No, they were kind of looking for like a bush camping engage right there. But it looks like they're just kind of waiting for the posture. A bit of poke coming in onto Zac this time. Not the Zac. It is a Zac. One punch Zac that time. But
look at that damage.
Kind of
yeah,
it is insane. But it looks like E-Boy was trying to get something done. Will not find anything this time. The teams are kind of just posturing back and forth for each other.
Yeah, they recognize Camille's not there. He's going to try.
Camille's in for some good damage here. Skarner was trying to find something on the side, but it looks like they're just trying to back away. They don't want to go too far for this.
Yeah, I like the look. I think that was great by Maelstrom recognizing, hey, our top's not here. They're going to look to fight.
Braum gets pushed back in, gets pulled back in, but some good damage. A triple grab right there. Bullet time comes down, but the Braum isn't there to save him. Camille is there to save him. Jim picks up the Braum, and we're looking to chase him down. Camille falls immediately after because Jim is picking him up. Jim is whacking him with that flail. Will get himself a triple kill. Misfortune will deny him the quadra kill, but it doesn't matter because we're running it down mid. We're opening up the base and possibly ending this game.
And this is what we said, right? Is Camille jumps on this MF, the team comes to the rescue, peels her off, takes her down, and this is it. This is going to be game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a way that Skarner stops this.
Yeah, no, I don't either.
Unless Zach can literally shut off all of their PCs from where he is right now. On a serious note, though, the amount of... How do I put this? TMG just had a grip hold on this game because...
Yeah, jungle diff.
Zach had so much momentum in that last game. He had so much activity, and in this one, I felt like he kind of really couldn't get much done. Yeah, jungle diff. There's not a lot to say it. Jim just absolutely outperforming. I think some of that has to do with the pick, though. I mean, Skarner not a good clear right now. I mean, we've seen it go down in pick rate a ton. Not only in our leagues and pro play and other leagues, you know, looking at like. Aegis and Blue Otter and stuff, like they a lot of the leagues, like Skarner is way down, and I think that's a good reason for it. You know, it's as we get into Fearless, I can see like trying to find your tank options, but absolutely dominant performance on this Lilia. Great comeback 2v2 performance from Crushing Rock, especially in what I would consider is not necessarily a favorite 2v2, but I think they executed it very, very well. Pizza Party, again, absolutely great setups. You know, he did a wonderful job. And then for me, I think this game, I mean, I think Jim's got to take it for me. We didn't give it to him in game one, but I think this one. This time we don't have to deny him, right? This guy went crazy.
Yeah, I mean, 41,000. Go back to what was 41,000 what? I think we missed it on there, but 22,000 damage there, most damage on his team. He only stopped by Camille, who was beaten on a tank all game. You know, he's up almost 100 CS on his fellow jungler. A couple of great sleeps. You know, just great performance. And TMG Evokers gonna go ahead and take this series down 2-0 and start building some momentum for them. And then, of course, if you're Maelstrom Esports, take the loss, review it, clear your mental off, and hit back hard next week. It's this still very early on in the split. You guys have plenty of time to come back.
Play, learn, and move on from it. That's what you got to do in this situation if you're Maelstrom. But this situation is the end of our cast this time around. Thank you for joining me, Leslie, and thank you for the wonderful production crew for keeping us on the production and showing us the beautiful shots we had this time around. I'm not a Valve game, your wonderful play-by-play commentator this time, Leslie the color commentator, and this will be enough for us tonight. Come back again tomorrow because there will be another wonderful cast for you at Titan. Have a great night.